This is going to be my birth story video. Birth story of little baby Oliver. Say hi. Oh, he's actually already 1 month old. He turned 1 month old yesterday, and I'm finally coming around to making this video. Oh. Hello. So this is Ollie, or Oliver, and we're gonna film a birth story video. Say hi. Good morning. Hey guys, long time no speak. I am finally sitting down to make this video that I've been meaning to make pretty much since the day I got home from the hospital with Oliver. So anyways, I'm going to get right into it. So this is going to be my birth story video, and I also have like some vlog type clips from the day he was born, so I'm going to include those as well, and hopefully it kind of works out that as I'm telling the story I can like throw in the clips that relate to what I'm talking about. So anyways, Oliver was born on May 27th, 2017 at 4:33 p.m. and I was 41 weeks pregnant exactly on that date, and I had to be induced because he was just happy in there and did not want to come out. So at my last doctor's appointment, which was on the 25th, I want to say. Yeah, I think it was the 25th, a couple days before he was born. And I was like, my last like 3 appointments before that, I was just praying that I wouldn't even make it to them because I was just hoping I would go into labor on my own. And yeah, that didn't happen. So at my last couple appointments, I was, I think, 1.5 centimeters dilated and about like 50% effaced, and there was just no progress really. I wasn't really having contractions other than just Braxton Hicks type contractions, which are not painful. And so yeah, it just kind of felt like I was going to be pregnant forever. So at that last appointment, we just talked about going ahead and scheduling the induction, because she said I could wait a little bit, but as soon as you go 41 weeks, they want you pretty much to go in for like daily NSTs. And the one thing that we were a little bit worried about was because I have like kind of white coat syndrome anxiety that makes my blood pressure high. If I would have gone into the hospital for like an NST and let's say I was like, you know, anxious or nervous and my blood pressure was high, then they would probably want to like induce me anyway. So it was kind of like, okay, I might as well just go in, schedule it for the Saturday when I get to be 41 weeks exactly, and then I'll go in. So that's what happened, and I called them early in the morning at like 6 a.m. on the Saturday because that's what I was told to do, and they told me to come in at 7:30. And yeah, pretty much what they do first is break your water, and then you go from there. So I was like, all right. So I was up bright and early and so nervous that whole morning, and I have a clip of, you know, me talking about going in and being induced and stuff and my feelings about it, so I'll go ahead and insert that right here. Good morning. Today is Saturday, May 27th. And I'm officially being induced today, and right now it is 7:05 a.m. and I'm going into the hospital for 8 a.m. So Nate is actually still in bed, so I'm gonna have to go wake him up soon because it's getting to be crunch time. We gotta leave in like 20 minutes. So this is the last day with the bump. I'm pretty freaking nervous, I'm not gonna lie. My heart is like racing, and it makes me a little bit nervous for my blood pressure because of everything I went through last time, and I have like anxiety, which causes me to have high blood pressure, and I have like white coat syndrome, so whenever I take my blood pressure like at the doctor's or whatever, it's always way higher than normal, and like I already just have that anxious feeling where I just know that it's gonna be high. So I'm just hoping that they don't freak out and they just kind of give me a minute to like relax a little bit. Either way, like I just don't want magnesium sulfate. I feel fine, so I'm hoping that I'll be okay and they won't like force it on me. But yeah, so that's the plan right now. I already showered and I'm just having like some toast with peanut butter and drinking some water. And oh my god, I can't believe I'm gonna meet this little baby boy today. It's gonna be quite an eventful day. It literally looks like we're going away for a week. There's too much stuff, but I mean, like, there's toiletries and stuff and clothes for me and Gran and baby and breastfeeding pillow and pump and pillows, and oh my god, there's like a million things. So yeah, we got everything all packed up and went to the hospital, and I had a clip also from the car ride there, so I'll throw that in here too. So we're on our way to the hospital. Well, first we have to go bring Nate to his Nana's house and hang out with his auntie and cousin, right? Oh, he actually like slept in today. Well, I mean, I had to go in and wake him up. I had to wake him up at 7:15, yeah. Now it's 7:47. I was hoping to leave at 7:30, but you know how it is with this one. Always makes me late. I'm so nervous. I don't like this. This is weird. Scheduled birth. Who has a scheduled birth? Okay. I'll get back to you guys soon. So yeah, after we dropped off Nate with my in-laws, we went to the hospital. And we got there around 8 a.m. I want to say, or maybe it was a bit past that, but either way it didn't really matter because I just went in up to labor and delivery and pretty much just waited around and got an IV put in by the nurse, and I think I have a clip of me talking about that too, so I will put that in here. So we're at the hospital and there's no doctor here yet. It is 9:42 exactly. And I have an IV in, which is really annoying, but it's just saline, and actually, I don't know why this isn't focusing on me. The nurse actually had to poke me twice because she first put it in my wrist, but then it wasn't like hitting the vein properly and the wrist was swelling with saline. So yeah, that wasn't fun and made me a little bit nauseous, and I feel a bit better now though. Just hanging out. Not really doing much. Very uneventful. I've been having a few contractions, but nothing painful. Just what it's been like for the past like freaking 4 weeks, it feels like. So yeah, this is our room. All our stuff. So you excited?
Very excited.
That's where he's gonna be. That little bed over there. Let's get this show on the road. So what's gonna happen when the doctor gets here is he's gonna break my water, and then we're gonna see if that just kind of puts me into labor on my own. And if it takes like, you know, a couple hours and nothing's happening, then they'll do a little bit of oxytocin or to get things going. So yeah, I think I mentioned it in that little clip that she missed my vein the first time, so I had to like get another IV, and that made me like a little bit nauseous because it kind of hurts when they're trying to like mess around with a needle under your skin and everything. So she didn't take my blood pressure right then because she knew like I was a bit, I told her I had anxiety like that, and my doctor even wrote that in my file, which was good. And then with all that happening, like obviously, you know, that kind of raises your blood pressure a bit. So when she did finally take it, I believe it was 134/94 or something like that, which was like borderline high, but it wasn't like super high. And then she kind of said that she would take it again later, and I was like, ugh, like I didn't want her to in a way, because literally when they come in with the machine, it makes my blood pressure go up. So anyway, that was that. And then we just kind of waited around for the doctor to come for a while. When he finally came, it was around 11:30, and then he just walked in and basically broke my water. That's the only thing that he did. He checked me. I was still only about like 1.5 or so. I hadn't really had any contractions. They were monitoring me a little bit in the morning. There was like maybe like 1 contraction, that was it. And nothing painful. So then he broke my water, but like it didn't come gushing out or anything. And I do have a clip of that I recorded right after he broke my water, so I'll put that in here. Hello. Now it's 11:43, like 2 hours since I updated. The doctor just walked in and broke my water. It was fun. But he said the baby was like putting a lot of pressure, so it didn't all just like sploosh out. But I sat up and it like kind of started coming out, so yeah. Now I'm just being monitored for the next like 20 minutes, and then I'm gonna walk around and hopefully get things going. We'll see when this little man decides to be born. Wonder what time it's gonna be. So yeah, he broke it, and then he was like kind of waiting for a bunch to come out, but because like as soon as he broke it, or I guess just in general, Oliver's head was like right on my cervix, so it was kind of like blocking the water from coming out. But then, you know, as I kind of would move around, I would feel it gush out more and whatnot. So yeah, so then after that, I was like put on the monitors for like 20 minutes just to monitor his heart rate and any contractions. And then after that, I was able to kind of get up and walk around and stuff. So that's what we did. We walked around the hall. It's like a big circle, the ward. So we just kind of walked around a bunch of times, and I had a few contractions. I definitely started feeling like it was picking up and something was happening. So obviously my water breaking was doing something, and I was really hopeful that that's what would be the case, because I didn't want to have to get oxytocin. And you know, that's when you get like the artificial oxytocin through an IV, and that induces contractions. And because all I've heard is that, you know, oxytocin induced contractions are way more painful than like your natural contractions. So yeah, I was really hoping to avoid that. And yeah, so things were picking up more and more. 12:20, and we were just walking around the like hallway. It's like a big circle, this maternity ward. Definitely felt a few contractions, and one of them especially was like pretty intense, so hopefully it means more will be coming. The doctor said he thinks that he is like 7.5 to 8 pounds, so we'll see what he weighs. Definitely gonna be a bigger boy than Nate was, which is good, and I expect that at 41 weeks versus 36.5. Well, he's moving around, and I think I'm about to have a contraction too. It's coming. Should I film it? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so tight. But I'm able to talk through it, so that means it's not that bad yet, but it's getting there.
Do you want to see if you can find that ball?
Maybe. My mom is gonna be here in a minute or so. Okay, I think it's going away. Not so bad, but definitely
one at a time, right?
One at a time. It's gonna get a lot more intense than that. Whew! So I think I have another clip of when I was kind of in labor and having contractions, and the nurse had just checked me, and I was 3 centimeters and like 95% effaced, I believe. And so that was like, you know, the confirmation that I was in labor on my own and I did not need any drugs. So I was like, hello. Yes. So nurse checked me when? No. What time? When she checked my cervix. I don't know. Anyway, I was 3 centimeters and almost fully effaced. So definitely in labor, and contractions suck a lot. Now I'm about to have one. They're like 3 minutes apart before. I don't know how much they are now. I'm not really paying attention. After she checked me, or right before she checked me though, I was lying on the bed and I had a really bad contraction and I threw up all over the place. Well, not all over the place, but in the little thingy. Yeah, it was just very intense and painful, and it's not fun laboring on your back. It made me so nauseous, but I feel better now. I'm just sitting on the yoga ball at least. And Grandma's massaging my back. My mom's here too. And yeah, it's 2:49 or 2:50. Don't know when this baby's gonna come, but I'm scared. Yeah. The whole time my goal was to not have any drugs, have no epidural and all that, and I was just going with the flow, and I was not completely against an epidural. If it came down to it, then I would have wanted it, but now I was kind of getting to that point where if I wanted it, I should request it now, because you know, you have to request it, I think when you're between like 3 and 5 centimeters is the best time to ask for it, because then sometimes things can pick up and you won't have time for it. But I was feeling kind of okay at that moment, and so I didn't ask for anything, and although it was definitely getting intense, and I remember having a contraction right when she had checked me, or like right around when she was checking me, and I had to get up on the bed and lie on my back, and it was like really intense and painful. And just the fact that I was like lying down on my back made me extremely nauseous, and I ended up throwing up. And I think I talked about that in the clip that I just played, about how I threw up and like they, you know, handed me the little dish and I just puked in it a few times. And that's when she was like, well, you know, that's normal that happens, and definitely confirms that you're in labor. So that was a kind of a good thing in a way, but that was crazy. Like, and that just confirms like how hard it is to really just be in labor and lie in a bed on your back. It's the most uncomfortable thing ever. So then, you know, I just continued to kind of hang around, and I remember being on the birthing ball, like the exercise ball, a lot, and bouncing around on that, or being on my knees like on the ground. Like for some reason, just being in like kind of a squatting or kneeling position, like near the floor or leaning up against something, was the best position to be laboring in, and the only position I felt some relief from. And I had Graham like kind of massaging my lower back, and that felt nice for sure. So that's kind of how I was handling the pain and everything. And I remember like when things started getting really intense, my mom was there too, and my mom was talking about like deleting things on her phone so that she could have more storage space. And like she kept, the way that they were just talking about it and having this normal conversation while I was in like excruciating pain made me so angry, and I kind of like yelled at them and like swore at them to shut up. So that was a little mean, I guess. And I knew they were probably making faces behind me, because that's exactly what happened. But I don't know, when people are just having a normal conversation and you're in a lot of pain having contractions, like it's just the worst. I just wanted silence, and that was it. And at that point I was like kind of moaning and like not yelling yet, but I was definitely like moaning a lot, like humming, and that kind of made me feel better, I guess. Like I remember always thinking that I wouldn't be a person to like make a lot of noise when I was in labor, but for some reason kind of doing that like kind of moaning really, it helps, you know. There's a reason why people do that. Okay, so then at around 3:30 is when I got checked again, and I was at 5 centimeters and 95% effaced still. So I was like pretty much fully effaced almost, and I had progressed like 2 more centimeters in an hour. So that was good. And I remember at this point they were really, really intense, and things were picking up like crazy, and I was barely getting a break. Like they were about a minute long, and it almost felt like a minute apart, you know, like basically not getting a break in between, or if it was a break, it was like 30-second break. And then, so yeah, for the next little while after that, that's when it was really intense, and I pretty much did not have any breaks. Like let's say, like before that it was like, okay, you'd have a contraction and you'd be in this much pain, and then it would like drop down and you'd be fine. And then, you know, you would come back and you would go back up, and then it would come back down. But then now it was kind of like I was always in pain, and then when there'd be like a bad contraction, it would be like spiked up high, and then it would kind of lower down, but like still a lot of pain, and then back, you know, it was like no real relief in between. And I pretty much knew at this point that, yeah, it was gonna be too late to get the epidural. I was like, once I was 5 centimeters, in my head I was thinking like, do I want it? I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I went back and forth in my head a lot, but I never really said anything out loud about it. but in my head I was thinking, like, even if I do ask for it now, by the time the anesthesiologist gets up here and does it, I'm probably going to be laboring still for another long while, and then it's kind of like, maybe I can just do this, like maybe I got this, you know. But yeah, I was like dying a little bit at that point, and this is when I was laboring a lot on my knees on like the hospital bed, like with my arms up on the bed with my face like shoved into the blankets and into the bed, and just kind of like moaning, yelling. It was very painful, and that's when I started like bleeding a bit, and I knew like something was definitely happening and picking up a lot, because, you know, I was bleeding and I was like in constant pain, so I figured that things were progressing pretty quickly. So then the nurse that I had started the day off with left her shift, and like pretty much right after she had checked me, or shortly after. So the new nurse started at like 4, and she came in and had, like, the other nurse had pretty much just checked me about, you know, 15-20 minutes before that, and she came in, and then by the time she got me up on the bed to check me, because I was struggling to get up on the bed, she's like, okay, you need to lie down, I need to check you, because I think at that point I was even starting to do like kind of pushing noises. Like, I wasn't really pushing, but I was definitely feeling pressure. So the nurses were like, okay, we need to check you, you know. So she tried to get me to go up onto the bed, but like I was resisting it because it was very uncomfortable to like move, or even, you know, try to get up onto a bed and lie on my back. Like, it was just not something I was interested in doing. But as soon as I did that, she checked me and she was like, yeah, you're fully dilated. So I was at 10 centimeters, or like 9.5, I think she said I had just a tiny bit of cervix left, so it was pretty much good to go. And yeah, so I was like, oh my god, because I was literally about half an hour to 45 minutes. I went from 5 centimeters to 10 centimeters. So yeah, now there was no turning back. I was like, this point I was just like, oh my god, I have to do this. Like, I have to push him out and deliver him with nothing, because this is the moment, this is it, you know. And so the doctor actually had left after he broke my water, and he said that he was only going to be 10 minutes away, and that he would come back, or he would have the nurses call him once I was like 9 centimeters or something, and then he would come and deliver the baby. But yeah, so I guess they tried to call him, but he was a bit far away, because it ended up being nurses that delivered the baby. So yeah, there was like a few nurses that came in the room, and things were just intense. Like, trying to think back on it, like, I don't really remember, because I was just kind of screaming and going insane and thinking like, I can't do this. Like, I'm pretty sure I said that a few times. Like, but obviously everyone was like, yes, you can, and you have to. So this is when they were trying to tell me originally to not push, because I think they were waiting for the doctor. But then I think when the nurse like checked me, she probably could like see his head coming out, and knew that there was just no way that I was gonna wait. And I couldn't control it either way, even if I wanted to. Once you get to 10 centimeters, your body just pushes that baby out. Like, it's not so much you pushing as much as it is your uterus pushing the baby out itself. Like, there's really no control. You can't, it's not like, you know, holding in a poop where you're just like, oh, I'll hold it in and poop later. Like, no, a baby that needs to come out is coming out. So then they quickly went from try not to push to, okay, we gotta push now. And I guess I didn't even like really realize how intense it was, and how like it was a nurse and there was no doctor there, because there's just so many things going on around me, and me being in so much pain, that you just don't really pay attention, I guess. And I think they were starting to get a little bit concerned, because his heart rate was like decelerating a little bit when I was having contractions. But at the same time, I know that that's kind of normal when a baby's being born, for their heart rate to kind of just drop a tiny bit as you're like contracting and pushing them out. And of course, I think nurses were just kind of on guard, especially because, you know, that's not something they normally do, is deliver babies. They normally are just there, and the doctor does that. So I think they were a bit nervous too, because I mean, it's kind of intense when you have to deliver a baby by yourself, when you don't normally do that sort of thing. So yeah, so I'm pretty sure I pushed for a good maybe 15 minutes. Not even, I don't know. It was very quick. And then his head was right there, and then I pushed him out, and I remember just the relief, and I was like yelling and screaming like, oh my god. And I have a clip of when he first came out, and I will insert that here. It's not really graphic or anything, so it should be okay.
Push hard. Come on, you can do it. Busy. Push. Oh my god! Hi! Okay. Happy birthday!
So yeah, that's like the moment that he was born, and it was super intense. And I know the video angle isn't the best, but I'm kind of glad I have that moment on tape because it was so crazy. And the instant relief that you feel after being in labor, and like it's just crazy. Like I can't even put it into words of like being in the most pain ever, and then like it all of a sudden it's gone and you have your baby, you're just staring at them. And then I just felt like such relief and so much love and so much excitement, and just so much like I was proud. I was like, I freaking did it. I can't believe I just did that. I just had a baby by myself, like, or not like by myself, but you know, drug-free, natural birth, the best thing that I could have ever hoped for. You know, this is what I always envisioned for myself. And after having my first son and the way that things went with that birth, this was just like the best feeling ever. And I was just so happy. And when I saw his face, he was so beautiful, and I was just over the moon, happy and excited. My husband was crying and I was crying, and just so emotional and so overwhelmed with emotion. It was like just such a great moment. And yeah, just if you go back and watch my birth story with my first son, Nathaniel, I'll link it down below. It's like 3 videos because it's super long and intense. And just the way that everything went that time was kind of made it hard for me to recover from like postpartum and everything. And then just the way that everything went this time, it was just, I couldn't ask for a better birth, honestly. And it just, like, I don't know, it was just an amazing feeling. And then the recovery in turn, like postpartum, I felt great almost right away. I did tear, and I had a 2nd-degree tear, so I had to get stitches. So they had to numb me up for that, like right after I gave birth. And that's when the doctor had finally arrived. And then we were all like, oh, you missed it. And Oliver was already on my chest and everything. And we got to do skin to skin for like 2 hours, and he nursed like before they ever even took him and weighed him or did anything. It was just such a nice kind of time to bond with him and nurse him and just enjoy the moment. And the rush of love and everything, it was just awesome. And I was, you know, able to walk around right after he was born. I was able to, I don't know, I felt very empowered, and I felt just so happy and proud of myself and excited. And I don't know, everything just went so smoothly, and I just felt amazing. So we stayed at the hospital for just 24 hours. His bilirubin was great, so he didn't have jaundice. He was nursing great. The first night was awesome. I mean, I was in a little bit of pain and a little bit sore, but it wasn't anything unbearable. And yeah, I couldn't ask for better, honestly. And I was so excited to get home and to see Nate and everything, and I missed him a lot. And yeah, it was pretty much like night and day from Nate's birth to Oliver's birth. And I'm just glad I finally got like the birth that I wanted, and it just makes me feel good and makes me excited even to be able to go through that again. Like, as much as it was crazy and painful, if I, you know, when or if we do have another baby, I definitely am probably going to try again to go natural, because I mean, it went really well and it was super fast. Basically from when my water was broken at 11:42 a.m. and he was born at 4:33 p.m. So it was like less than 5 hours total from nothing, not even being in labor, to him being born. So it was very fast. And if I would have gone into labor on my own, sometimes I'm like, wow, I wonder if I would have been one of those people who would have to like give birth in the car or something. Because I remember thinking I wanted to labor at home a little bit before actually going into the hospital. So if that would have happened, you know, it very well could have happened that I wouldn't make it in time. But yeah, I'm glad it was fast, because fast labors are the kind of labors you want to have, trust me. So I guess that's pretty much it for his birth story. He was 7 pounds, 2 ounces, and 19.5 inches long. Yeah, so he wasn't like a huge baby or anything, and the doctor had estimated that he thought he would be around like 8 pounds or something, but or 7.5 to 8 pounds, and I guess he was just over 7 pounds, so just average size even for a 41 weeker. But he's just perfect in every way, and when we left the hospital, he was down to I think 6 pounds 15 ounces, so he lost like 3 ounces in the first 24 hours. But then breastfeeding was going really well, and my milk came in pretty quickly around between like the 2nd and 3rd day. I was already having like mostly milk slash like that combination colostrum and milk, so he definitely started gaining weight quickly, and by the time his 2-week appointment came around, he was already at 8 pounds 13 ounces, which is pretty crazy because he gained like 2 pounds in 2 weeks. So yeah, he's been nursing like a champ, and now he's 1 month old. I'm not sure how much he weighs, but I will do an update probably after his 2-month appointment and show you guys him then as well. So yeah, so that's my birth story with baby number 2, Oliver. And I hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below and I'll be sure to answer anything. And yeah, sorry, I'm so inconsistent with videos, and I appreciate the support and, you know, everyone who's still stuck around despite me being such a bad YouTuber. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!